Warning, this video contains spoilers for Hollow Knight. If that's not cool, then don't watch it. Hello and welcome to a new series I like to call Boss Review. In this series, I'll be reviewing bosses from different games. I'll be reviewing the good, the bad, the easy, the hard, the simple, the complex, all sorts of bosses. I'll be judging these bosses based on fairness and also a little bit on music, but not really because that's kind of doesn't matter. In today's video, we're going to be talking about Hollow Knight, my favorite game of all time. I gotta say that every time I talk about this game. Hollow Knight bosses are kind of all over the place in quality. Most of them are great, some of them not so great. Today we're going to talk about two of the greats, one of whom is my favorite boss in the game. We'll start with good old Troop Master Grimm. Aside from being my favorite character, Grimm is a really great boss fight. First off, the key to a good platformer boss fight, especially in a Metroidvania like Hollow Knight, is a Telegraphed Attack. Having the player be forced to take damage because the enemy just decides it's going to attack is pretty dumb, and while some Hollow Knight bosses do fall into that pit, Grimm does not. Every attack he has, he telegraphs. He opens up his cape when he shoots fire bats, he digs his cape into the ground for the cape spike attack, he floats in the center of the arena for the fireballs attack, etc. These telegraphed attacks really give the player a chance at fighting back and really make you feel like you're putting on a show. Grimm also lets you know where he is in terms of health. Every time he loses another 25% of his health, he does this puff-up attack. Now for a beginner player, Grimm may give them a bit of trouble, but after a few attempts, beating Grimm won't be that hard. It's purely just paying attention to his attacks and memorizing what they look like. Now let's move on to the harder version of Grimm, the Nightmare King. I believe Nightmare King is the best boss in Hollow Knight. For one, he still telegraphs his attacks, you just have to react quicker than you do with Grimm. Aside from that, Nightmare King deals 2 masks of damage instead of 1. The thing about both Grimm fights is that there's a rhythm to them. For your first few attempts, you may fail that rhythm, but after a lot of practice, you'll get the hang of it. Nightmare King is basically just Grimm with a few more tricks up his sleeve, or cape. He has a new Flame Pillar attack and does a few other attacks differently, like his fire bats going in an up and down pattern. I guess you could say he adds more flair to his attacks. Shut up! He still does his puff up every time he loses 25% health, but it's way faster. Honestly, for someone like myself who fought Nightmare King so many times, going back to regular Grimm can be a bit jarring as he moves so much slower. So let's talk about the music. Both of these bosses have different themes. Grimm's is called the Grimm Troop, and it's a pretty good song. It's mainly an organ, but when Grimm goes into puffy mode, the electric guitar and drums kick in, making it even better. But Nightmare King, oh boy, it's basically a rock remix of the Grimm Troop with a lot more drums and brass. It fits the Nightmare King fight so well, with lots of falls and build-ups. Overall, Grimm gets a 4 out of 5, and Nightmare King gets a 5 out of 5. I might be a bit biased, but these bosses are great.